videos where you have an officer basically around the neck area.
These two retired Vegas cops now podcast hosts.
They don't have ID. They can't get into a hotel room.
To get them the help they need, especially if someone even gets arrested. A lot of people don't know how the justice system works.
But I want someone to actually know them and know that it's...
Hey everybody, this is David Colmeyer, the Problem Solver. Welcome so much for joining us every single week or 2 weeks, depending upon the situation. We're live, and I'm here basically to bring some amazing people on the show, talk about different problems that we can help people. Anyone that has a problem, they can always message me and go to theproblemsolver.vegas. We bring different people on, whether it's a local politician, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's a doctor, whoever it may be. The bottom line is we want to bring people on so we can learn from them and share some wisdom and experience. So that's why we're here. And I will start by welcoming my Cambodian host, Dr. G.
Hey. Thanks for having me again.
Dr. G is very well known in the Las Vegas community. She's on some different some celebrity shows on some different TV stations, right? Some. She also could be found on OnlyFans as well.
OnlyFans. Stop teasing the audience. Come on.
I'm teasing them.
Stop teasing.
But anyway,
hey, let me ask you something, Dave.
Yes.
Where do you go when you have a problem?
That's a good question. Men don't have problems, though.
Oh, because you're perfect.
Well, they always say, again, same line is that men start podcasts, women go to therapy. But so this is this is therapy. I save a lot of money, the co-payments, stuff like that.
So you come here for your own issues.
You are my therapist. You just didn't know.
Good.
So Janti's always here enlightening people with her spirit, amazing spirituality.
Yeah, see, they're great. I'm too good for OnlyFans.
We were supposed to have a Rose. Rose disappeared, which was another co-host, a beautiful co-host, and she's disappeared. She doesn't really find the problem solver to be important.
No, that's not it. It's not unreliability or not that she doesn't love you. I'm sure she does. She has other commitments. The problem solver is very important. That's more
Las
important.
Vegas is very, very important.
I unfortunately don't have a life. That's why I'm always here with you.
And this is how I select co-hosts. If they don't have a life, it's very easy to get them to come on the show. But today we have actually an awesome guest, Bryan Hopkins, who's here in the studio here. Welcome, Bryan. And he is the founder, right, of Hero's Journey Podcast, who's a podcasting studio, right?
Yes.
And also the lead singer of Elvis Monroe, which is a band, a local band.
Yeah. Well, we're local here. We relocated to Las Vegas from Hollywood.
Okay.
So, yeah. And if you guys know bands like Lifehouse, Matchbox 20, Matt Nelson from Nelson, Ricky Nelson's son.
Okay.
So you got Ryan McMillan was the original drummer for Matchbox 20 in my band.
Cool.
Matt Nelson from Nelson, one of the twins.
Okay.
And then, David Pichette from Emerson Drive, big country band out of Canada. And then Ben Carey, who's my best friend, and he's from the band Lifehouse. And I'll go deeper. He's from a band called Savage Garden.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, Truly, Madly, Deeply, all those big. But Lifehouse is even bigger band for a longer time.
What do you do in the band?
I'm the lead singer-songwriter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little sample later? Like to close out, will you give us a little song? Later. Okay.
Maybe, I'm sure there's some YouTube video that we can.
There's lots.
Lots of videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long have you been the lead singer? I mean, well, I guess let's go back. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, stuff like that.
I grew up in Oregon.
Okay.
I'm an Oregon boy. I played football and baseball. I was recruited out of high school for baseball, and then got hurt. Looked like I was going to play for the Angels, and then I got hurt and went to college for a year. Found myself just trying to get away from it all, and went to Alaska and got some money, came home, jumped in my car, drove to Hollywood, and I lived in my car for 3.5 months.
my God.
I had money.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have money, but I had money I'd saved. So then I ended up getting a job at a restaurant, working midnight to 7 in the morning, and found myself acting. Next thing you know, I land an agent, and I am doing television and soap operas and all kinds of stuff. And music just kind of found its way to me, and it was purely by accident. A couple of times I found myself standing on stage hosting these big radio shows, but I went there as a patron. I went there in the audience. I had a ticket, and some crazy stuff happened. Next thing you know, I'm being pulled up on stage. The promoters are asking me if I would, introduce the next act. And I just said, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I don't know why or how I'm going to get here, but I'm going to work hard to do it. And I did. And I put in the work, and next thing you know, music took over from acting. And I'm still dabbling in acting right now. I'm having a lot of fun working on some projects as well. And it's
what are some big things that you've done with acting? Anything that
one
recognize?
that people remember me for is I played Vince Montana on Saved by the Bell, Kelly Kapowski's boyfriend. And I went back and did the college years as well. And that was a lot of fun.
Oh, wow.
But a lot of people, like, it's funny. Men will remember me from that mainly.
Oh, more than women?
It's because they were pissed off at me because I was dating Kelly Kapowski. And if it wasn't Zach, they wanted it to be them. But it was,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, how old are you, Bryan?
Too old?
Too old right now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
30s.
27.
40s.
Yeah. No, I wish.
What? You're older, really? Because
Yeah.
you look really young.
Thank you.
Well, maybe it's the hat. I don't know.
No, it's I'm Native American Indian. I've never drank or done drugs in my life.
Oh.
I don't know what alcohol tastes like.
Wow.
I wish John T could.
This preserved me. Alcohol and drugs preserved me. I'm 80 years old.
I love that. Then
Right?
that's what I got to do. Like,
yeah, if you want to stay young, honey.
Start throwing that back. Exactly.
That's why you look so damn old.
I need more alcohol and drugs in order to preserve myself.
Yeah.
So you were a police officer, correct?
Yeah, I was a police officer in New York City and also in Henderson here.
I love that, man.
Been here 21 years and I was a cop for 17 years. So it's actually crazy. I think in November, this November will be 10 years that I've been retired. But I've been working in different law firms and helping people, basically people call me for different problems, hence the problem solver. And then as a retired police officer, I know a lot of attorneys. So a lot of people will call me and say, hey, do you know the lawyer? What should I do? Or
wow.
Everyone always thinks they need a lawyer when there's other options like this mediation, which is free and different things. So my goal is to always kind of help people. And a lot of people just, again, they think they need a lawyer when it's just like, okay, just do this and that. You don't need to spend $5-10 grand on an attorney. But so I try to help people. And then we've been doing the problem solver for, I think, I don't know if it's almost 3 years, which is kind of crazy.
Really?
I remember just starting doing it.
Okay.
So I think we've been here since they've opened. So with John, I actually met John prior to him opening up the studio here. So we were doing it weekly, and we bring in different people on the show. But what's interesting is that to find people weekly that are good people that are available to come on, it's more difficult.
Right.
So we've been trying to do like every other week now, just to give it some space, because every time you turn around, it's Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting old here.
Time flies when you're having fun, they say.
They say, but
So you
it's
must
no
be
good to
having
get
a
old.
lot of fun.
I can't believe actually I'm here 21 years.
Yeah.
So, and actually, you mentioned about
in Vegas, huh?
yeah.
Hey, you have your own show here too, right?
Yeah, Hero's Journey podcast. I actually sit in that seat right there.
What is it called?
Hero's Journey
Hero's
podcast.
Journey. Okay.
She has a little bit of a hearing problem.
That's
so.
okay.
Yeah, no, remember, I'm 80.
Let me turn it up.
You should be happy I can actually see you right
I
now.
know, huh? I'm a little blurry. That's why I look young to you.
That's why you look so good. Yum, yum.
It's that Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Tell us about your podcast. What do you...
Yeah.
I've seen some clips, but tell us the whole inspiration.
Hero's Journey podcast is just, actually, it goes back to, I manage these guys called Dadcast. And they started a podcast out of Oregon, Zoom only, and during the pandemic. And these guys started to blow up, and then I started to help them get other guests, celebrity guests on their show. And they have about 1 million followers now.
Wow.
And they started asking me to co-host on the big shows and stuff with them and with their sponsors. And it was a pretty easy transition, but I knew that it had to be on this level, and I knew what I wanted to do. But I just was waiting for the opportunity. And I met John. Vanessa and I go way back. Vanessa and I have been friends for about 8 years now. And she introduced me to John, and one day, and I helped John get some pretty big guests on his show. They were my buddies. Cool. And he looked at me, and then he said, do you know what you would do? I was like, yeah, Hero's Journey podcast. We all wake up the hero of our own story. We're the CEO of ourselves. We're the star of our movie. It's what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with today? If we're lucky enough to wake up, and the alternative is that we don't. If we do, what are we going to do? And I'm always wanting to get people on that are sharing their hard times and the good times, and to help inspire. And I love being inspired, sitting in that seat right there, and having people share their journey, and to know that as long as we're still breathing, we're moving forward. You know, you can get through the dark times. You can get through stuff that, and I've had people on my show that are addicts, and we're addicts that are doing great things, or, you know, just picked up one day and said, this is what I'm going to do. And they pursue it and make it happen. But talk about the stuff that's not easy. Yeah. Because I want to relate. I want to relate with somebody out there sitting at home, watching or listening on their drive, and having it speak to them, having it be something that is like, that's me. Right. I am just like that person. And if they can do it, I can do it too.
Inspiring. That's good.
The heroes part, and I know a little bit about your story, but the heroes was after the situation that you were involved in?
Yeah, but that's not why I came up with it.
It's different. But it is kind of interesting that it is.
Yeah, it's not, because I was standing in my kitchen one day, and I had a buddy who was at the house, and I told him that I wanted to do a podcast, but you know, I wanted it to be like this. I couldn't even dream this up, what we have here at Sticky Paw Studios. And I knew I just didn't want it to be a Zoom thing. And I said, Hero's Journey podcast is what it would be. And he goes, did you know that's a Joseph Campbell book? And he starts sending me all these videos that Star Wars and every great movie has the hero's journey, where, you know, you're finding mentors, you're finding people, you know, you're getting through these things. It's the arc of a movie, of a great movie. And if you found yourself lost in it, that's it. And then, you know, it's like that's part 2, part 3 of movies. It's because we all go through that. Just because we get to the destination doesn't mean that's it. We now have to push, you know, and adventure into the unknown again.
Like a different chapter of life,
exactly.
Right?
We all have that.
So are you going to tell me a little bit about your situation or challenge? Yeah. Because he just mentioned it, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the story. I felt a little, well, he'll go into the situation, but I felt a little, I wanted to kind of wait to really kind of get to know a little bit more about himself. But when he mentioned here, I didn't know it was related. So, but I guess we could jump in it, because the reason why, you know, we met through John, and what's cool about the studio here is that you meet a lot of different people that have different podcasts, and you build different relationships with people that are doing the same thing, podcasting. Right. Maybe a little bit different. Like, to me, I agree with you. Like, I like to bring on people with inspiration. Everyone's different what they say. Learning, you know, so even though it's a problem solver, like my cousin who's a little crazy, he'll say, oh, what problem did you solve today? Like, it's not always about solving the problem. Right. Like, you're talking about a hero and inspiration.
That's his biggest fan, actually. Yeah.
My one fan.
He's the guy listening right now. What's up, cousin?
How you doing, buddy? And the one critic.
Like, the guy's completely, you know, like negative about everything. You know, like,
is he a New Yorker?
He's actually from Pennsylvania.
East Coaster.
It would be better if he was from New York to be negative, but like from nowhere, Pennsylvania, like in the middle of nowhere. So, long story short, you know, you learn from different people about inspiring, which would solve a problem, right? If you had a positive spirit or mentality, or realize that other people, like if you've had a dark day, we've all had dark days. And the bottom line is that you're going to get through it. And if you hear other people's stories, you're going to be in a better situation so that you don't have problems. Right. There's a lot of people that are negative, right? It just spins off to negativity. So
it's not that you don't have problems, because I think in life more than likely are going to have problems and challenges, but it's how you handle them.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what you gain through all these different experiences in life.
So my kids that's next door here, that they're over next door here, you know, whenever I talk to them as they get older, I always say, like, that if when you wake up in the morning, expect at least 3 problems for the day. It could be different problems.
That's not good, though.
Actually, I do like it. The reason why is this. Because if you know there's a problem to come, that you know that you're going to solve the problem, you know it's coming, so that you're not going to have a bad day because you know it's coming. If you know something bad's coming, you have to change it. You have to flip it. And what you do with the problem is really important because it's not a big deal that problems come. It's how you handle them, right? So I always say if something happened in the morning, you're late or something like that, then
I disagree.
You disagree?
Because I feel that is a law of attraction. Now, if you already wake up having expectation of that, then you are going to attract it and you're going to have problems. So no, don't have that. Don't have that
I kind of disagree that because there's got to be problems. You're going to have problems with the day.
But I'm saying
I'm not saying ask for them. I'm just saying just be prepared. If problems come during the day, just know that it's okay. It's not a negative thing. To have a problem is not a negative thing. It's how you solve the problem.
Right.
That makes it positive.
Right.
So if you change that mindset, like no one taught me that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like having a problem is not a bad thing
Yeah,
because you have to flip it to good. You have to make it
But don't wake
good.
up expecting it though. You said expecting.
No, I'm saying if you
day.
expect or be prepared, whatever you want to call it.
There you go.
The goal is to
Okay.
be prepared so that you're not. It doesn't become a negative thing.
And you have to watch your word very wisely,
but basically
right?
it's a challenge, right? Look at it as a challenge, and how do you flip it to make it a good situation?
Now, what do you think?
I agree. I think that
Which part?
On planet Earth,
With
any
him or
problems
no,
with
no,
With him or
you,
with me?
with you on the not expecting, like
Be prepared is better?
Being prepared is a better way to approach it. It's kind of like, you're going into, anything. You go into a show, and I have a show tonight, and I know that most likely there's going to be something that's not going right, and then not going to go right, but it's how I navigate through it because the show must go on, kind of thing. The day has to go on. We have to get through these things. We have to tackle these things. So I agree with both of you, and how you approach your kids. That's you. That's awesome. Good for you.
In schools, they're not really teaching any type of self-improvement or affirmations. Like when was it ever taught in school? It's not, unless you go to a seminar, like I've been to other like Tony Robbins.
Well, it depends on the teacher, I would think, because I had some really good teachers that inspired me when I was in
Inspired for academics, but like for self-improvement.
Yeah, no, they taught me certain things, yes. But
Did
not
you
every
have-
teacher.
I don't remember that.
It depended on
I mean,
the
like
person.
Tony Robbins type of stuff, or affirmation, like get up in the morning and say, I'm beautiful, I'm amazing, right? These affirmations to make you feel better. That's why they actually say teenagers have a lot of suicide, young kids.
Well,
they're not
people-
learning about how to deal with problems and affirmations and self-improvement.
But people like Tony Robbins become teachers even in a regular school, even. Not him
But
specifically.
in the most part, like
but,
throughout the
you know.
United States, most part, schools are not teaching affirmations,
Right.
Positive affirmations that you should get up and look in the mirror and do that. People
Right.
would you agree with affirmations?
I agree.
You went to the wrong school, man. I
Your
feel
school's good.
I feel so bad for you, Meyer. You're
No,
like,
I mean, what do I remember? Like maybe like
I feel
sex
so
ed,
bad.
right? Sex ed.
Of course, he goes
that's all
right to
you
that.
remember.
That's how I remembered. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all he remembered.
I don't
You
even
see what
remember
I
his
mean?
self-improvement in sex education.
Unbelievable.
And he has 4 kids running around
You
out there, 3 or 4.
self-improved? Yeah. From your
So-
sex education class, you got 3 lovely kids right there.
There, yeah.
See?
See, I didn't pay
Self-improvement,
I didn't pay
honey.
attention. All right, so here's
You
Journey.
don't have to.
All right, so
close your eyes and
so
shut up.
maybe we could find, maybe our engineer here today can find a really good. When we end it, we can play one of Bryan's songs. Is there a certain YouTube video that he could look up?
Dude, I want Bryan to sing it, though.
You're gonna-
Not just play
We've had
the
other people
song.
sing it. Do you actually? Are you shy?
I'm not going to sing.
Oh, come
yeah.
on.
We've had someone sing before.
Really?
It was on
That's
the show.
funny.
Yes.
That's funny.
That's
Why
funny.
are you shy?
See,
I'm
if
not
you,
shy.
See, if you expected a problem like this, the singing, then you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
expecting
All right, well, maybe
that.
we'll find something. Maybe luckily,
It's like,
engineer-
it's like putting Jory on the spot. Like, dude, sing. You feel like a
Like
puppet,
a dog,
right?
you know?
Like you
So
feel
bark,
like
bark.
It's like
She's very
you
good.
wanna come
at-
see me do what I do. Go,
Have
watch
to-
me stand in front of thousands of
and
people.
have to buy a ticket.
No, I'll get you.
No, I
in.
was
You
joking. I
don't
was
have to buy a
joking.
ticket.
Man,
She's
that's
actually very
messed up.
good. Janti's very good at commands. Like if someone that tells her what to
I
do,
can
bark
see
like
that.
a dog, she does it. She's
Well,
very
that's
good.
because they do what I say. That's why I've gotten good at it.
Oh, because you give the command?
Yeah, because they do what I say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's a
Like,
dominatrix.
lick, baby. You know,
Okay,
like-
so so to get into Bryan's story, which I've never heard the whole story. We mentioned the other day, but I think it leads into his Hero's Journey podcast.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about. I mean, I don't know if you can really consider yourself a hero. I mean, it sounds like you were, but I never
course he does.
heard the whole story. So tell us how you were involved in technically it was music, and then October 1st, the shooting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, well, here's the thing. Because you bought me lunch the other day.
Only because.
I'm owed the story.
Yeah.
He's probably tired of telling the story, but it's,
no, it's not.
is
I think I laid it to rest a couple years ago. It's just one of those things where talking about it is therapeutic. Yes,
I'm sure.
it's a positive thing, but it's the darkest, like scariest, hardest thing, but also the most amazing thing came out of it, which is pretty wild for me. October 1, Route 91. That's what we're talking about. Las Vegas. I'm the lead singer of the band Elvis Monroe. I played the first year. I was the first band to play for Route 91 the first year. And so every year I'd go back. This particular one in 2017, I went out there. Brett Young, my buddy, was playing. He was one of the main guys on Saturday. So I went back and I brought a song that he and I came up with, and Ben, when we were out on the road, we did some shows with Daughtry. He was out with Lady A, and we met up at a bar and we wrote the song. So I demoed the song. I bring it to him, and on that Sunday, I was backstage, and I had a water toast because I don't drink, neither does Ben, with Brian O'Connell, the owner of all of Route 91. That was his event. And we were toasting to a successful event. Like I had mentioned.
Right before it started.
No, at the end.
At the end.
Right before Jason Aldean's taking the stage. I'm standing in front of Jason's bus in front of his door. And I told Brittany, his wife, when she popped her head out, that we're going to fanboy out. We're going to go watch from the front. And we toast with Brian to a great event. And this is the last performer. It's the headliner of Sunday night. And we made our way. I gave Chris Young a hug. And because we were talking backstage, and he went up on stage, and I remember this image because he's going up, and we didn't want to go on the stage. We didn't want to watch from side of stage. We wanted to watch from out front. And so we made our way out. This guy runs up to me, and he's like, Elvis, hey, can I get a picture? And it's two guys. And so Ben and I walk up to him. Ben asked if he could put his cowboy hat on. So Ben puts his cowboy hat on, and we take a photo with this guy, and or these two guys. His name was Brian, and the other guy was Adrian Murphy. And I only know this, and I'll get to this because it's wild. Take a photo. They walk about 15 feet back, and I haven't talked about this in so long, so it's all like this blur. But I walk up behind these two girls, and I had met them, and it was Nicole and Nicole. And I called them my echoes because when they introduced themselves, I said, oh, there's an echo. And I'm like, hey, it's my echoes, jokingly. Standing behind them, we're right, there's a stage, we're front left. And we're about, I don't know how many songs in, 3 or 4 songs in, and it sounded like fireworks going off. And we thought it was a PA. We're looking up thinking it's a PA crackling or whatever. And then we realize it's not that, and people just start running at us. And Ben gets hit in the arm. And you're hearing, and because now the music stopped. Jason had dropped his guitar and took off running back. And he says, run. And I take 2 steps with him, and I start to run backwards, and I look back, and the girls that are standing in front of me are frozen, looking like that at me. And so I go back, and I grab Nicole's hand, and I said, look at me. I'm going to get you out. Just stay with me. I'm going to get you out. And I turn. There's all these people running. And I don't know how, when I grabbed her hand, we didn't get hit, people trying to run through us or anything. And I looked back, and Ben was gone. And what come to find out later, he'd been trampled. So he's on the ground. Then he gets up and starts running. And my thought was, I'm going to take them the way that I came in from backstage. So I see the where the security guard's standing, would have been standing. It's not there anymore. And I said, follow me. And I stopped them at that area, and you're hearing the metal being hit by the bullets. You're hearing the splat. You're hearing nothing but screaming, thousands of people running, and there's a fence. The fence that divides the 22,000 people on this side, and I'm taking them through this area, and I clear the corner, and I'm looking to make sure no one has guns and they're running at us or coming at us. So I clear the corner and I said, run. And now I have an outer body experience. It's kind of like I can see myself running with them, and I keep looking at them and telling them, look at me, just keep, you're going to be okay. Stay with me. And I'm running and I can see my feet. It's wildest thing. I'm up here looking, trying to figure out what my next move is going to be. And I come around the corner and I'm like, I'm going to take them to the artist entrance. And that's the area that I came in. And when I turn the corner, the fence, which is like 10 feet high, is bowing backwards. And all of a sudden you just hear people screaming that are with me, those two and everybody else who followed me. And I think to myself, I can get over this fence, but I can't get them over the fence. Mm-hmm. And so somebody yelled, "Get in here!" Mm-hmm. And it was a truck. And they opened the door. So I put the two girls in and then just started lifting people into this truck. Anyone who was standing there and wanted my help, I just put them in the truck. I get inside, I grab their hands. Everyone is on their phones, hiding. And I'm like, be quiet. Let's be quiet. You know, they shut the door. Mm-hmm. It's probably 5 minutes that we're in there, but it's a refrigerator truck with everything going on. I'm trying to keep everybody calm. And I look back at the door and I went to open it. And as soon as I open the door, I hear gunfire. And so I shut the door and I go back in and I go to make a video for my parents. It's only like 12 seconds long. I went to say, this is where I'm at. This is what's going on. And this guy throws fingers, like rock fingers, in front of my video and starts pounding on the walls. And
from inside the
yeah,
truck.
and he's like blackout drunk,
okay.
Right? His girlfriend's screaming. Okay. The other Nicole is trying to get her, asking her name, where you from, trying to get her to calm down. We're trying to figure all this out. Mm-hmm. And so I put that phone away, put it in my pocket, and my first thought is, I'm not dying in here. I'm going to get out. Mm-hmm. And so somebody had went to open the door again, and as soon as they go to open the door, there's breaking the fire. Like there's a little bit. I'm like, I'm getting out. Mm-hmm. And so I jumped down and I grabbed Nicole, and I just start lifting people out of the truck. Now somebody had taken the back of this truck, this refrigerator truck, the ramp that they roll stuff up on, and put it on the fence. So now there's a thing on the fence. And so, there's people jumping over, going over, and I'd asked somebody to stay and try and catch the women. Mm-hmm. And I remember hearing this girl scream that she had back surgery and she can't get over the fence. And I said, I'll go over and I'll catch you. Mm-hmm. This is what I remember saying this. And but I just turned, and the two girls, Nicole and Nicole, are helping me put people over the fence. So we just kept getting them over the fence until there was, I thought we were the only three left. But there was a couple that was there and an older lady, and I'm trying to get them to go. And I said, go, get over the fence. And they said, we're not going anywhere. We're staying with you. Mm-hmm. And they don't know me from Adam. Like, they don't know me. And so I said, just you go, and I'm going to follow. So I'm trying to get them over. And when Nicole Ruffino was going up, she's sliding back. By the second time, I grabbed her by the waist, and I turned and said, let's go. We're going to go out this other way. My phone was still recording. And nobody remembers this, but a police officer comes running around the corner, and I see him in slow motion. Mm-hmm. And he says, run this way, run towards Hooters. And he runs towards the gunfire. Oh, God. So he runs into the gunfire, and he's telling me where to take them. And so I'm like, let's go. And I'm still holding Nicole Ruffino's hand. She's holding Nicole Yorba's. And Yorba's holding the couple and another lady. Mm-hmm. and I'm leading him out by foot, and we're running past people. This is where I have nightmares because I ran past people on the ground. I'm a 6'3", I'm a big guy, and my focus was, I made a promise. I'm going to get you out. Stay with me, I'll get you out. And so that was my focus. And I didn't stop and pick anyone up, but I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't know anything. I just made a promise to get them out, and then I'll figure out, the next thing. So I ran past like 4 or 5 people. And then I remember, and as soon as this happened, Nicole Ruffino stops and she starts crying, and she calls her dad, and the other Nicole grabs it and says, there's been an incident, meet us at Hooters, hangs up. And I'm like, yeah, we got to keep moving. And we get to the corner, and they don't remember this. There was a guy with his shirt off, a bigger guy. He'd been shot right in the sternum. And a buddy of his or someone on top of him trying to breathe life into him, crying. And then I said, run into the dark, which was directly across towards the airport. The one couple went this way. The older lady went to the right. And I don't remember them. I had to ask if this is what the Nicoles told me what was going on, because my focus was still so much them. And anyone who was in my way, I helped them. But we crossed the street, and they don't remember this either. There was a car parked in the middle of the road. The passenger had been shot in the passenger seat, not moving. And there was about 7 or 8 people hiding behind the car looking up. And I ran them across the street, pulled back this fence. These 2 guys grabbed it because people started to follow me too. So they get through, pull the fence back. People are getting underneath this fence. And then we got to Hooters, and then there was even more stuff. People are running up to me because they knew me or thought they knew me, kind of thing, running up covered in blood or mud or whatever and wanting my help. So I huddled all these people around these machines and said, okay, who are you? Does anybody have phones? Like, it's the end of the night on a Sunday. Battery's dead. People dropped their phones when they were running, whatever. I said, does anyone have a phone? Do you have battery? Anything? Does anyone remember numbers? Do you know numbers that you can call to let people know where you are, kind of thing? And so
has the gunfire ceased at this point when you got to that spot? Hooters, right?
Here's the thing. I didn't know anything.
Oh, okay.
You could hear it.
Yeah.
But I just kept moving.
Okay.
Okay. And so I'm inside Hooters, and all of a sudden somebody runs in and yells, "Oh my God, he's got a gun!" And the whole place just floods with. And so I grabbed those 13 or 14 people, including the 2 Nicoles, and I run down I take them down a hallway and into a door, and I go through the door, and at the doorway is a off-duty police officer. He was drunk, but he was like, I got the front door, you go get the back. And it was a kitchen. So I stuck them in a corner where I could watch the door. You couldn't get in, but I was watching the door, and he was watching the front, and I hid them in the corner until it was cleared. And then Nicole's dad, who is an ex-CSI guy, he showed up. Dude showed up, and they were there quickly, and I don't know how they got through the barricades, they got through everything, grabbed his daughter, and I said, I'm going to stay because these people are counting on me. So I said, I'm going to walk the airport, and we'll walk as far away from here as we possibly can. Once we got to a grocery store, which I think was like a Vons or something, somebody's dad picked us up. And then we got to this house. I plug in my phone. Ben had called me. He had called me when I was in the refrigerator truck. And I just said, run. Just get out of there. I was happy he got out. Just keep running. And he was running. So he got out of there. And I said I was going to get out. I told him I'm going to get out. But anyway, I get to this house, and I went on Facebook Live to let everybody know that he was okay and that I was okay. And I guess I look like white as a ghost, because the moment I realized what was going on. And one of the guys that I had brought with me in this truck, walked down, stranger, he gets a call that his best friend had been shot and killed. And it's his girlfriend, who he got separated with, is finally, he gets to a phone where he can plug it in. He has his phone, phone charge. And so all of a sudden he's in an Uber and gone. And I get picked up, I get home. And by the time I got home, the news crews from LA were at my front door. And I had got a call from CNN, and they were interviewing me on I'm like, how the hell did they get my number? From just, I guess, from the Facebook Live. Right? So I didn't go to bed until Tuesday. This was Sunday. I didn't go to bed till Tuesday at 9:00. I had done countless numbers. And when I say like probably 125 interviews, and 70 of them were like set up. And the other ones were when I said, no, I'm done talking about this. They would just stick cameras in my face. And then there would be just tons of people in my face, whatever. And I remember waking up on Wednesday morning and saying that I'm done talking about it. Like CNN, all these people, they would come get me. And I didn't go to bed. I didn't go to, I was, it was the most insane days. But then I did a benefit concert to raise money for, I did a benefit concert in California I did one here on the 5th. And I brought Nicole Rufino up, and I written a song called The Fight with Ben. And we performed the song. It was a benefit concert at the Red Rock just days later. And on the one day that I was awake, that I had a night's sleep, I rewrote this tune that I had, performed it for this show, and all of a sudden, Inside Edition has Nicole and I holding hands. We were reunited on TV as well, like in an interview on that Tuesday. There was so much craziness around it all. But through this journey, like I went to California, and I get the call from John, DJ Silver, and he said, "Hey, my mother-in-law wants to talk to you." I guess she was one of the ladies. Then he was one of the headliners, and he's like, "You saved her. You saved my mother-in-law's life. She listened to everything that you said to do, and she followed you, and you got her out." And then people were coming out of the woodwork. So on that Wednesday, I was done. I said, I'm not going to do any more interviews. And Tucker Carlson, or is that his name?
Yeah, Tucker Carlson.
I said no to him. I didn't want to do anymore. And he called me personally and said, would you please consider doing this, whatever. And so I was there with the lieutenant governor of Nevada, and doing an interview, who then came up to me and wanted me to tell the story face to face, holding me. And I'm like, okay. Then one of the dispatch guys wants to hear the story, and he starts crying, and it made me cry. And then I went on and told my story, and then I step off, and one of the undercover police officers that were a group of 6 there, he grabs his phone, shows me his phone, and he goes, "This is my wife. This is a picture of my niece. You helped my niece. They're at home crying." He starts crying. And so it was just an insane
whirlwind.
Exactly. And then I get a call to go do a benefit concert in Alaska to raise money for 2 fallen Alaskans. I do the show. I meet the mother, the brother, and the sister of one of them, and of Adrian Murphy, and the night before. And so I do the concert, and the concert's over, and this guy walks up to me, and he's like, "Hey, thank you for doing this." And he goes, I was there. And I'm like, "Whoa, sorry, man." I jump up, give him a hug. And I said, "I'm sorry we're meeting like this." And he goes, "You did this for my best friend." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. This isn't making sense." Then he goes, "We met." And then I remember like the walls moving. It's like they just went racing. The walls were moving. I had met them. They were the 2 guys I'd taken a photo with. And so for me to be 3,000 miles away from home playing for this young man who I'd taken a photo with. It was in Adrian's phone, which was left there. I got to walk up to his mom and say, I met your son. He was having the time of his life. And, and I went and did this and raised money for them. So it's...
How many people would you say that you've saved from or guided them through?
I have no idea. There's probably 12 or 13 people that have reached out to me and said, this is what you did for me. One girl, she's like, I'm a bigger girl. You and the two Nicoles, I call them my echoes. They said, she was like, your echoes, help me get over the wall. And I'm like, wow, or get over the fence. Yeah. Now, the crazy part about all this was Nicole and I we become friends through this and talk about it. And I would help her. One of my friends is a therapist for mainly military PTSD people and whatnot. And she's like, I want to sit down with you. She's like, you're doing the right thing. You're talking about it. So you're probably good. But I want to talk to Nicole. So she helped Nicole, the two Nicoles. But we got this crazy bond that we were thrown into.
I'm sure.
And then talking through it, I had to, she almost died of a rare disease that she got in November right after it. And her parents called me and said, she wants you here at the hospital to hold her hand. She doesn't remember this. She doesn't remember saying this. And so, but I did. I went to the hospital until the doctor said, you can't be here. No one can be here. And she gets through it, has to learn how to walk again. I mean, she's a star athlete. This girl is, like brilliant, beautiful athlete, athletic. And so we get through all this stuff, and I'm getting ready to go on tour with a band called 3 Doors Down. And I remember telling the bus driver, hey, I forgot something at the grocery store. Let me go grab it. And while everybody's packing up, I'll be right back. And I jump in the car and I race to her house and I knock at her door and I said, look, we went through October 1 together. This is how we're dealing with it. We went through you getting sick and all this. And this is January. January. And I said, so whoever you choose in your life has me to deal with now too. He has to answer to me, not just your dad, your mom. You don't have any brothers, any sisters. It's got me to answer to. And I left it at that. And I took off on tour. And she would call me like every day, every morning on her way to work, like we did. And I wrote these songs. So there was an arc of songs that I wrote from One Day Someday, the girl that I described how this person was going to be, all the way to a song called Falling For You Bad. And I wrote the song Falling For You Bad on the road. And I shared it with her. And it was either she's going to run for the hills, but she surprised me on the tour. And she shows up and I didn't know it. There's a video of this. My lawyer sitting next to me, the band, the crew, everybody knows what's up but me. And my little sister's walking around. My sister she was our tour manager, who Kenny Chesney took her away from us, and George Strait as well. My sister works with him. And, but yeah, it totally shocked me. And then I flew her out at the end of the tour, and we've been together ever since. Aww. So, and our love story's been told. I got to play that song on national TV. It's been on the radio, national TV, with her standing there, right next to the host. And, so.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that part's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. The out of what was so awful. Yeah. And the thing is, my dad, I wear my dad's dog tag. My dad's a Marine. At 3 a.m, I remember my dad sitting across from me at the table, and he is looking at me. I can hear my voice on TV, and they're running this loop of the video on CNN. And my dad's looking at the TV, listening, and he looks at me and says, "Were you scared?" And I said, "No." And then I start shaking. And then I start crying because I realized that everything I did the moment I grabbed Nicole's hand, I had purpose. And through purpose, I wasn't scared. I was like, this is a promise I made. I didn't know if I could keep it, but I'm going to do this. And then I got scared because I was wearing I have a clothing line, and we were partners with Marvel called Red Chapter Clothing. And I was wearing the Captain America shirt. And I'm like thinking, I told my dad, I'm not Captain America. I wasn't bulletproof. Like, what was I thinking? And it scared me, it scared me to know that. So, but anyway.
No, it's
wow,
it's
what
an
a
incredible
story. Wow.
I got a few questions.
Well, you were protected.
Yeah.
You really were. Yeah.
When you were inside the truck, though, did you hear gunshots on the truck? Like, was the truck being shot at?
No.
Like
No,
ricochet
not
shots?
that, nothing I could.
If you
because I had us, the main, I took us away like the back corner, and everybody was over here.
Okay.
So we were in it, but I got us out of that area and behind the staging. So the staging was a bit of a protection from
cover.
Yeah.
So if you would have stayed in the truck for a long time, let's just say you guys were hiding out in the truck, do you ever know if that truck ever got hit? Like, did you ever, kind of unusual question, but what I'm trying to say is sometimes making these strategic moves during like an active shooter situation, right? It can be good or bad. Like if you would have left and you could have got shot, right? But or if you would have stayed there waiting for a few hours, like actually in Israel, people, at this music festival, right? Now that I'm thinking about it, some people were hiding and some people were running. So sometimes making the wrong move, like running, you run into the wrong area, or you hide it out until backup comes.
Absolutely. And the thing was, I didn't know. I personally did not know. That's why. But when I had opened the door and heard the gunfire, I realized I don't want to be just sitting here doing nothing. I don't want. I can't see where this is coming from. So I'm getting out, and people followed me. That was the thing. So and by doing that, by making the choice to do that, take action, people were following me, and that's why I felt responsible for these two. And then when there were more, when we got to the next location, there were more people actively asking me for help. I'm going to get them through this. It's another promise to strangers that I made, and I was going to get them to safety. And I'm the oldest of four. There's four of us, and I always felt that responsibility, even for my parents. My parents were young parents, and I felt responsible for my parents as well. So that's the role that I took. And I'm an ex-athlete. I think I said that in the beginning of this. I was a pitcher. I played shortstop. I was a quarterback. Those are the things, those are the positions that of leadership. I'm the lead singer of a band.
Right.
They rely on me. If it's going to suck, it's going to be my fault. If we're going to lose or win, it's going to be my fault.
I think you portrayed that leader personality, and that's probably what people saw, even if you're running.
Right.
You're a leader.
Yeah, I mean, I think also your stature, you're a big guy. I mean, people probably thought you were military or you were retired law enforcement or something like that. And basically you emanated probably leadership at the time, and most people just are in shock. They don't know what to do. They're looking for someone to lead them. Hence,
I would follow the tall guy too. Yeah. The tall, hot guy. That's who I'm following. Yeah.
Thanks.
I was gonna say because I was gonna wait later. I was gonna say
serious.
I was gonna wait a little bit later, but I was saying is now you know where to go to find good-looking men. Is that you have to go to these like active shooter situations to find a good-looking guy like Bryan.
You know what's funny is that year was the only year that I didn't go to that festival.
Really?
Yeah, I went to every single one of them before. Only that year.
Good for you, though.
Yeah.
It was a great time up until that moment, and it was the wildest thing to have music be the thing that I do, and have it be taken away, and that's why we took the stage. Myself, I can't remember the opening band, and a band called Otherwise. We teamed up with Red Rock. The general manager at the time was Brian Lindsay. And he said, I want to raise money for the city, for this cause. Would you come play? And we said yes. And my guitar player, Ben, didn't want to. His outlook on this night was different than mine. He was running. We got separated. He was scared. He didn't know where it was coming from. He didn't want to. It was a different type of thing. And I couldn't let music be taken away. So we took the stage on the 5th. Then we turned around and took the stage again on the 6th in California. And there were 3 girls there who ran up to me in California on TV with the TV crew saying, this is what you did for me. And they were there. They knew I was playing this show, so they showed up. Then to play, we played in Alaska, and then we took this stage at the Venetian here in town. And Jewel was on before us. We closed the show at the Venetian for Best Entertainment. It's a big agent, the best agency here in town, put on this event, Ken Henderson. And so we got asked to close this show, and it was hard. It was hard for Ben. He couldn't even see the names rolling across the screen, and the song that we wrote for the city. I've never even released it because I didn't want to benefit from something. It's only on YouTube. You can go Elvis Monroe, The Fight. You see it. I'm playing in front of thousands of people every night. We put together this video. But I actually had a bunch of artists perform on the song. Big names, like a We Are the World type of thing. But I've never mixed the song because it just felt weird. Just like right now.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, this is the first time in a long time I've talked about it. 1 and 2. It plays back in my head like a movie. So if that's the way it comes off when I'm talking, I'm sorry.
No,
but
fine.
I have to separate the emotion from what I remember and just how this lays out, like click, 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 these things. Because I can't listen to the gunfire. I've been on live TV in London and places like that and telling this story, and they would run these videos of the background of stuff. And I'm like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you please turn that off? And they'd keep going. And I'm like, either turn it off or I'm just going to hang up or I'm just going to go. I'm just going to walk off the set, that kind of thing. I didn't want anything to do with, because that's the part that bothers me. Yeah.
Question for you: when you heard the gunshots in general, maybe because I was a cop for 17 years, and did you think that it was people more on the ground level that were shooting? You probably never thought that it was like a person from a higher level, because I would not think that now, unless you were military and you were involved in stuff like that. I would think that it was ground level. What were your thoughts when it happened? Like,
same.
You thought it was more ground level.
I thought it was on the ground.
Yeah,
and
it's really kind of. It was amazing, but like it's really incredible that you couldn't even make something like that up, because normally it's always ground level, right? Active shooter situation, not from a hotel room from so high,
right?
Unless it was like a military
operation,
army, like a war situation where they're shooting from a higher level.
Right.
But you thought it was a low level. You never thought.
That's why they were running everywhere, because they didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah, no one knew where it was coming from.
Yeah.
It was running different ways.
Absolutely. But you were seeing people go down. I watched 2 people go down. I turned and I watched a girl go right over the top of somebody. I don't know if it was a girl or a guy. And that image. And both Ben and I saw the same thing. Because it happened, and that's what made him say, run. And
one thing I want to share is I always try to bring like my law enforcement background. With phones, you talk about phones that die and stuff like that. The one thing that most people don't know, and I always bring it up because no one really talks about it, and it's a cool thing to know, that every phone that you have, and back in the day when I was a cop, it was more like the flip phones, but every phone, even if the phone was like no longer service, that there's FCC, we pay taxes, that 911 will always work. So if you have an old phone, I always talk about keeping phones at home in different locations, even if it's not working, that you could always call 911 as long as the phone is charged.
Oh, it has to turn on, though.
It has to turn on.
Right,
but a lot of people, the battery was dead, so of course.
Yeah,
it's not gonna
batteries are
work.
dead.
But I always talk about having like extra phones in the car or different places, even if you have an old phone. But I mean, it's bad enough to remember to charge one phone, right?
Yeah.
But in a house, you can take old phones, put one in the garage, one in the bathroom, like keep it charged, because you can always call 911. And most people don't have landline phones any longer.
That's a
right?
good,
They have
that's a
cell
good
phones.
idea. That's a good
So
idea.
you should take an old phone that you're not using and then basically just keep it charged. Like even if you had an old iPhone and you put it on the wall and it was charging in the garage, like you can grab a phone. Because right now, even in my house, right, something happens. Like my kids don't have a cell phone. There's no landline. Really, it's kind of dangerous. But I mean, we're always with them. But if let's say I went down, right? I mean, they have to know how to use the phone or the password or code. That's what's really good about having landline phones. They talked about in Hurricane Katrina, that no one's cell phones were working, but the landlines were working even with flooding.
Wow.
You know, but a lot of people getting rid of landlines. But I just wanted to bring up with the phone situation.
I guess worst case scenario, you just throw that phone at somebody, right? It can be kind of a weapon if it doesn't work at all.
I'm not sure it's going
If
to do
it's
that
not
much,
charged.
but the goal is to get some help with communication.
Just
you know?
kidding.
But
Try to lighten it up a little.
so anyway, just talking about that. By the way, I did work 9/11. So before I
Yeah,
came out in Henderson,
we talked
I worked,
about that.
I worked on 11 and came out here. But you know, it's one thing that's interesting. You reminded me when you said that you were running past people and that you felt bad. I'm sure that's in your mind because, of course, you would love to go back and save all those people and help all those people. But you're only one person, just like I think I mentioned to you as well. As a lot of cops on their days off, well, maybe there was one day off for a lot of cops were working 9/11 like every single day. A lot of cops were going down and doing they call it the bucket brigade, where they basically, you know, taking any type of evidence or body parts or things like that, putting in a bucket and then passing along the way. And I always felt bad, even to this day. I feel bad. I think I mentioned to you about not doing that. I was working. It was like I was doing nothing or on vacation. But a lot of those guys also got sick and they got cancer because they were down at ground zero. No one thought they were going to get sick, right?
Right.
But a lot of these cops were getting cancer and still dying from 9/11. You know, I know several guys. So I was across the bridge in Brooklyn where, you know, it was a good amount of distance. And these days, you know, I feel that we watch so many movies and we're desensitized unless you're like directly there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was involved in it. People were evacuating. They were coming over the bridge from Manhattan to Brooklyn and I was evacuating people, you know, from there. But it still was a good amount of distance, even though I saw, you know, the towers and I was meeting people that were in the building that were running. But it was still a little bit different because I wasn't like, you know, here you're being shot at or you're hearing gunshots. It was a little bit different because there was a little bit of distance, but I did work, you know, 9/11 and I was, you know, evacuating people and I went down there for ground zero, transporting railroad equipment cranes for lifting things up and then lighting equipment because it was pitch black in that area with no electricity. But long story short,
Thank you, by the way.
yeah, I mean, to
Thank you
me,
for your
it's,
service.
you know, honestly, I mean, knock on wood, I'm lucky to be alive, yourself included. You know, as much as we all take part of it. I mean, you're definitely deeper in the situation.
Well, I got to tell you, I every police officer I meet, I shake his hand because I don't know who the police officer is who ran around the corner and gave me an out. He told me where to go. That was the only instruction that I took from anyone else other than making my own decisions. And I they don't remember him. No one remembers him because they were so focused on me.
Yeah.
Nicole and Nicole were focused on me. Even they were afraid that they were going to be separated from me. They didn't want to leave me.
Yeah.
And this police officer, he gave me guidance, but it was like he was in slow motion and then took off towards the gunfire. So when I meet a police officer, I'll shake their hand and say thanks for their service because maybe I will shake that guy's hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah.
But I also believe in angels.
I know.
He could have been that as well,
True.
you know?
Absolutely.
Especially if you haven't heard who he is yet,
Absolutely.
right?
And I've told this story so many
Yeah.
times. You think that person would remember coming around that corner and giving me those instructions because I was in a specific area,
You're right.
you know, of that place. So
Just have chills, you know?
Yeah.
The whole time you're telling the story.
yeah, no, and I believe in that stuff. I'm Native American Indian, I'm Lakota Sioux. I've drowned. I was drowning as a kid and fell off an inner tube. I was drowning. I remember giving up. I was hearing this song rolling. It was. I know the song. It was going in my head. And then there was a splash, and then I was pulled out of the water, put on the berm along the river, and no one was there.
See?
No one was there, and I kept wondering. I was asking who got me out, and nobody knew. Nobody had any clue
Guardian angels.
who got me out of the water. And I was 8 years old, and I remember that. So, and that's a story I
You know,
Sure.
I was just looking up online, but you know, there's one picture. There's one picture of Metro. Like there's like two cops, and there's like a cop with a rifle facing. There's a cop that I worked with, you know, in Henderson in the police academy. His name was James Tennant, and he was part of that like picture. He was down there working. I never really spoke to him the whole story. I was looking up the picture online, but it was like that main photo, and he's like believe the middle guy. But you ever see? It's kind of like, I think this is one of the iconic photos. You know, basically where it's basically just like the police on the car, and I believe that's him in the middle, basically, that he worked at. They haven't spoken to him in a long time, but you know, he was in the academy with me as well. But
Which hotel is that in the
that's
background?
the Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
But
So
could you imagine just being there looking? You know, you don't know what room, what's going on,
Right.
and where are you shooting? Even if you're a rifle,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, what are you hitting? What are you looking at? Like, you know. So I could only imagine just being like stuck behind the car just for cover. But anyway, I really do appreciate you sharing this story. I know you haven't done it in a while. I mean, it's a sad situation. The whole thing is very sad. I mean, the truth is, you are a hero. It's interesting. You have a Hero's Journey podcast.
Has nothing to do with
has
that.
nothing to do, but it does come together. This
Yeah.
somehow. I mean, somehow I do believe I'm spiritual. That I mean, you were a hero. You were involved in a situation. Whether God wanted you to be there at that time to help him to save, but you have a podcast that's very much related to what you did, your action. So, I mean, it's amazing. It's a great story. I applaud you for everything that you've done and helped save lives. And I think that we have to remember that, you know. And now we know where John T has to go to find a good-looking. Is it Cherokee Indian?
Lakota, Sioux, and Cherokee.
There you go.
Yeah,
See?
so I am
So if
Cherokee.
you're looking for a
They're everywhere,
good-looking
honey.
tall Indian, you know where to go. We
They're
have to
all
set.
over the place. I'm just blind.
She'd be the person running in. Like,
She's Dr.
I'm
G.
looking for a tall guy. Is anybody here that's single? Is that bad?
Plenty of tall men.
So
He tried to set me up with everybody.
She has no problem.
Right?
Fine,
Yeah.
she can handpick who she
it's
wants.
the right.
Thank
It's
you.
the right.
Thank you.
She's like,
He's like been trying to set me up with every single person
It's
that
Really?
we meet.
It's
No,
So
she-
it's
it's
kind of
over.
it's cute.
She can cherry
It's so
pick
cute.
any guy she wants.
Yeah,
That's
thank
no
you.
problem.
but
you very
maybe the
much.
right person is that.
I'm very selective. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? The also sad part of it, just real quickly, is that all these school shootings are taking place, and everyone wants to get rid of guns. And I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I don't really have an answer. Maybe everyone's trying to.
I gotta tell you,
have an answer for that one?
no, I don't. But here's the thing: I'm coming from that, and coming from all these situations and sketchy situations that I've been around. I want to buy a gun.
You do.
I do.
Oh, you never have before.
I don't. Randy Couture is one of
Okay.
my best friends.
Yeah.
He took me out shooting one day. I shot one clip,
Yeah.
and that's all I've ever shot
Oh, wow.
before. And he's like, it was my birthday, and he's like, hey, we're gonna go out on the Razor and let's go do this. And
you don't even really need it because you can intimidate people by just walking up to them. You know.
but it's not. It was like one. Thank you, but
Yeah.
it's just not my thing. But here I am. I'm sitting here having a conversation with a buddy of mine. We're coming back from the movie, and he's single. Both his parents just passed away, and we come back from the movie, and he's got his gun sitting in the car. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa, how many guns do you own? He goes, 30, whatever. You know, they're throughout his house, whatever. And he walks me through why he has it. Well, I'm not, I mean, we're talking like a month ago. He pulls up to his house, and these guys in a car come up behind him, and they circle around the neighborhood a couple of times, and he's sitting there on the phone in front of his place.
Yeah.
And then they pull up in his driveway up behind him like they're going to jack him.
What?
And he jumps out of the car and points his gun right at him. And he said, I was shaking, and they threw that car in reverse so quickly, jumped back in the car and took off.
Wow.
And I went, whoa.
That's bold.
You know, and here's a guy, he's trained. He trains it. And one of my buddies this dude he is a badass. He's a special forces guy. Mm-hmm. After the October 1 calls me up and said, hey, this will help you with the PTSD side of it, blah, blah, blah. Will you come out? It's a shooting thing. I charge $4,000 for this 3-day course. Come do it for free. I didn't want to do it. Ben did it. And now Ben's he carries a gun, you know, all this stuff. I didn't want to do it. Now I wish I would have, but it's I'm one of those guys that I'm on the fence about it. But I'm only a big guy that's intimidating. I'm nothing to somebody who actually has a gun.
Who's
You
also
know?
trained.
Exactly.
No, I mean, the truth is, I think everybody needs training. You need to be aware of situation awareness. I think that it's great to have a CCW. I'm pro gun,
Yep.
but you have to also learn how to shoot it because most times you can't. But the truth is, I do believe things are getting more dangerous. And the truth is, there's not enough police officers that are out there that are going to respond. So you really have to protect yourself, your family,
Absolutely.
your loved ones. You have to be ready for it. A lot of people just don't really understand it. They call the police. Police is 20 minutes away.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. For my own home.
If they even show.
I have a bat by my bed, and that's it. And I thought, you know what? I made a promise to take care of this person, and that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
And so, and her dad is a, ex-CSI guy, and they've got guns and
Okay.
whatever,
Yeah, it's good to be prepared.
Yeah.
Do we have the fight? Is it okay for us to?
Yeah,
it's on there?
sure. It's on YouTube.
So if you put in the fight by
Elvis Monroe, The Fight. It's a live version. We went out on tour with Three Doors Down and played this
Okay.
every night.
Good. That'll take us
If you
out
turn
then.
if you turn around, just make sure it's the right one as you see it. The top one.
Yeah, it's the top one.
Yeah.
Let's play that one.
And that'll be the out.
And on all those underneath it, that's when I performed it for the first time on Inside Edition. The one below it was Jewel came out and sang it with me.
Oh, cool.
And the third one down.
What's the best one to play?
No, the top one.
Okay, this is the top one.
one.
Let's play. How long is that clip?
I don't know. Few
Let's
minutes.
let's play it.
Go ahead. The
Just do
top.
like-
It's
just
the
do
top one.
Like 30 seconds.
Yeah, sorry. It has a intro though. That it's crazy.
Okay, he's trying to turn around. But again, appreciate your story. When's the next time you're doing a? Is it going on?
I'm hitting the road this next week. I'm going to Alaska with Saliva, the band Saliva, or it's actually
Saliva.
Josie Scott, the lead singer of Saliva. Click Click Boom, Your Disease, all these Hero, massive hits. And
What
so I'm
what kind of music do you sing?
I'm
Well, I
on-
guess I'll hear some now, but
Well, I'm on country radio and rock radio, both.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, let's hear it.
It takes some time to heal a heart, an innocent born to fall apart. It shouldn't be so hard to breathe. Take my hand to fly away. I'll walk with you into the fray. We'll find the strength to set us free. And one day, at a time, our love will keep us all alive, and I'll never leave your side. Stand up, stand up, stand up, let's fight shoulder to shoulder. Let's show our might, but one heartbeat, it beats strong tonight. We are the fight. Stand up, stand up, stand up, and let's fight shoulder to shoulder. Let's show our might with one heartbeat. The beat's strong tonight. We are the fight. I'll be a light when all is dark. I will mend your broken heart. I'll walk with you into the grave. And one day, at a time, our love will keep us all alive. I promise you we will survive. Stand up, stand up, stand up, and let's fight shoulder to shoulder. Let's show our might with one heartbeat. It beats strong tonight. We are the fight. Stand up, stand up, stand up, and let's fight shoulder to shoulder. Let's show our might with one heartbeat. It beats strong tonight. We are the fight. Hold on to it and hold on. I'm never letting go. Hold on to it and hold tight. I'm never Can you all do a favor for me?
Oh, that's great.
Each and every one of you, pull your cell phones out. Pull the phones out. Turn on that light and hold it up in tribute to the 58 that weren't as lucky as us. Hold them up high. And I hope this song can mean something to you. If you're going through something, you got to stand up and fight. We can link arms and do this together.
Stand up, stand up, stand up, let's fight shoulder to shoulder. Let's show our might with one heartbeat, and beat strong tonight. We are the fight. Stand up, stand up, let's fight shoulder to shoulder. Let's show our might with one heartbeat, and beat strong tonight. We are the fight. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was really good.
awesome.
That was awesome.
Hey,
Thank you.
What's his name?
Ben Carey.
Ben. I know Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I met him with Bex.
Oh, no
I was
way.
like, he looks so familiar.
Yeah, that's my best friend. That's Ben Carey. That's my bandmate.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay, yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, we wrote that song together.
Oh, that's awesome.
When you say Bex, who's Bex?
Oh, this is Bex. So that's how I
Oh,
met.
yeah. She sings, right?
Well, she's well, not really.
No?
No. She used to be in the club business, but she
Okay.
lives in New York now. But she
Okay.
comes here because she has a lot of friends here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that's where I saw him last. That picture.
Ah.
Small town.
Yeah, come on. Ben knows everybody.
Yeah.
You
Don't
know?
do
I don't know,
anything.
Ben. Let me see Ben.
Don't do anything
Ben?
because we're not gonna find out.
Yeah.
Don't do anything naughty in this town.
I do not know Ben.
That's why I'm a nun.
But anyway, by the way, this is the first time I heard the song. I think it's really great.
Thank
I like
you.
the tribute
Beautiful.
with the
That's-
58 as well. So
That was live. That was a live performance.
when you go on tour, you always sing that song, right? It's one of your songs that you sing.
Yeah, well, it was too hard for Ben to play every night. It was a reminder of
What happened?
something.
because
yeah,
he was
so
there too, right?
he was the one. He's the one I was talking
Yeah,
about. We
yeah.
got hit in the elbow and said run. He's the one we got separated from. So it's a different thing for him. So the moment he's like, "Can we not play that song?" I went, "Okay." And then so one day I'm gonna record it, actually do a proper version of it. But I want to put a bunch of artists on it, like I have. Like they're already there. Joe Nichols is a huge country star. He opens the song, the recorded version, and it's just I never wanted to benefit from an awful night. I just wrote a song called "Bet on Me to Be Alone," and it's a song right now that Phil X from Bon Jovi is playing guitar on for me, and Ben just got really busy, and it was just I just get this call, and it's an opportunity, and he's one of my buddies came up with, and he's in Bon Jovi. Come on, this is Jersey, you know what I'm saying? But he's from Canada, a huge rock star. Anyway, this song I wrote on the anniversary of October 1. I was out on tour. I got hired to write songs for a band on their tour bus. I sat by the water, picked up the guitar. I'm in Nashville on a lake. We had a couple days off, and I wrote this chorus, just the melody and the music on the side of the water. I came home, and on the anniversary, October 1 came about this year, and I didn't know how to deal with being sad and happy on a day because the best thing that ever happened to me came out of the shittiest, scariest, most awful night for most people. And it hit me for the first time. How can I feel this way? And I just remember how I felt walking into it. And I remember telling my mom, my parents used to live here. I had a place, my place was big enough for them to to stay with me 7-8 months out of the year, and then go back to Washington in our summers here in Vegas because it's so hot. And I turned to my mom and said, I'm going to be that guy who's in a relationship 2 years at a time, because no one will understand the kind of life that I have. They want it all. They want me to be the rock star, but they also want me to be the guy that stays home and da-da-da-da. And it just doesn't ever work out. No one ever understands. I just bet that I'm the guy who's going to be alone. And I remember telling my mom that. And so this song that I wrote is about that, how I felt. And I didn't know that there was somebody out there that I always just thought I'd be alone.
That is for you. There's someone out there for you.
Yeah,
always.
yeah. So that's it was like months later that October 1 happened. But that's how I cope. And Jory, who's running your show, he's an artist as well. And I call them downloads. I don't know where they're going to come from. I don't know how I'm going to cope with these things. And for your listeners out there, I'm sorry. Like the way I told the story was, like I said, it was like a movie. It's like it didn't happen to me because I've told it so many times that it's
almost desensitized.
It's exactly. And it's not that I don't care. It's not that it does. I just had to put that away and just walk through it. And this is what happened on that day. And I tried to stop telling the story too.
Well, again, I really appreciate you sharing it. I mean, it's a very deep story. I'm glad that you helped all these people. Again, Bryan Hopkins, Hero's Journey podcast, lead singer of Elvis Monroe. Please let me know what we could do to help. If you have any future fundraising and different efforts, we'll maintain a relationship. But whatever we do to help you and support you, we're here for you, and we appreciate that. And
thanks for having me, guys. Yeah,
it's also good to be on the other side when you do a podcast. It's kind of therapeutic as well.
Yeah,
sometimes to be on the other side and not have to worry about questions and leading it. So it's kind of, I think I've done it before, right?
Yeah, you've been on all the sides, right?
I'm all the sides.
Yeah. Okay, good. You've been in all the positions.
I'm on all the I'm on most Cambodian podcast shows in Las Vegas. But anyway, John T, thanks for co-hosting as usual.
Sure.
Pleasure. And then Bryan will keep in contact. And
sounds good.
As usual, I'm Dave Coleman, the Problem Solver, theproblemsolver.vegas, 702-999-1111. Again, 702-999-1111. If you got a problem, I can help you. You can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. John T picks up the phone between midnight and 6 a.m. That's her shift. But otherwise, I'm the only guy. And I do pick up my phone at 3 in the morning. So if I can help, problemsolver.vegas. Be careful, be safe, and see you next week. Take care.